and a bing. We're live. It is the AV community meeting. We've got Sam and Ben and Federico. Yay! And I was just saying I kind of failed to flag this meeting, but I thought best to have the meeting and just get it into the new flow. We've kind of been experimenting with different days, and I think this is now the only day that really works for me on a regular basis. So there we go. But why don't we start off with, particularly because the two of you have shown up, shall we just kind of get a little let's get another one of these and do that. And shall we, yeah. Federico, have you got any items on your mind for agenda items for the meeting?
No, I don't. I was just checking.
Which is totally fine. Go on.
The agenda, yeah. And I was about to check, like, was it 2 weeks ago? So no, I don't. Yes, I just thought of one. Mentors, recruiting mentors for the new members meeting.
Right.
Yeah. And if I get anything else, I'll let you know.
Great. Ben, did you have anything on your mind? You don't have to have no pressure. Just
you know, I expected this to be a much bigger thing that I would sort of listen in on. Actually,
right? Sure.
Having only just recently joined the community, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's totally. I mean, well, that's one of the ongoing issues we've had about meeting attendance or meeting numbers. But yeah, there's. I'll give you time to think about it. If you want to add anything, I'd say we've been experimenting with different days, and so we've kind of thrown people off. Oh, we have had 5 or 6 people in the last few meetings, but then we haven't had it for a couple of weeks while we tried to work out a new day. So we probably won't get back up until the numbers until we've got it into a regular cycle. João has flagged some things in advance for when he joins us, which is, I mean, mainly it's going to be the Met Plus thing. Maybe I can just start the meeting off with a few items. Well, I was going to mention we've got some new things have happened in that we've had the key thing. We've had a deposit paid by the Anthony Powell Society. So that's. We've also had the Met Plus, or this is Met Plus, have paid the first monthly fee for the non-profit basic plan. That's 2 sort of big events going on there, and I've got certain, I think, like must fix issues on the AV site, which are sort of big things for me. Just to give you some background, Ben is João had who's been the project manager on the Met Plus project for a long time, and a great contributor, and works at Pivotal in New York, and he was flagging, we're not getting so many people at these meetings, and it tends to be the regular faces, and so he kind of asked the mentors what was the issue there, and some people said they wanted to have more upfront agenda, to know that to ensure that the meeting was for them. So we had a few weeks of that, and also with experimenting with different times. We tried once on a Sunday, and then we also had the different bits and pieces. And yeah, I think that was effective, but then it's not practical for me to meet regularly on a Sunday, or Federico or others. So yeah, we've kind of moved this back to I think it was we were originally having it at this time on a Monday. So, but the idea of the meeting is to be able to have a meeting where we're not focused on the technology per se, and we just kind of catch up on things that are important for whoever turns up, really. these little items for me are mainly that just the interesting thing with the paid projects is that ironically when Out of Ventures gets paid, we seem to get paid to work on things that are Andrew. Hey JP.
Hello.
Hello. And yeah, so we've got this for this membership database. I'm going to be using Open LibreBase for this charity. We've got other paid projects going on. So, for example, for the UK's NHS, where we're using MediaWiki, and yeah, the whole idea of the paid projects is that that would be something that would be attractive for people to get involved in real projects, potentially even get paid for working on projects. Ironically, the stuff that people want to learn tends to be, it's like, I want to learn React and, the latest new cool things, and the kind of in some ways, the workhorses of, real projects slogging along in the trenches are less exciting. The big thing, the summary here for me is I'm thinking about how can I make this work with Open LibreBase that I'm going to do for the Ansible Power Society be a great learning resource for other people. I guess, my first thought is I'm going to blog about it, but we'll see how that goes. But so that's just a little update there. I've also got lots of meetings with the NHS this week to go and talk to them about the future of this project. I think certainly some of you will know about this, but we have created this wiki for the NHS's Healthy London Partnership that's all about social prescribing and self-care. And that was a reasonable sized contract, and we've had a few people working on that. And there's like ongoing moderation and maintenance fee being paid and so on. So that's these are the money coming in from these are very much help sustaining the charity, and looking for more. There's inklings of more of these kinds of projects from the NHS, which may be great for sustaining the charity, but again, they're not necessarily going to be paying big bucks for the latest React stuff. So anyhow, that's some updates there. We have had as well. So Met Plus is I'm struggling with this, JP. Met Plus is obviously the name of the project. Is it also the name of the non-profit? No, what's the name of Chet's non-profit?
The name of Chet's non-profit is Met Plus.
Right. Okay.
And the name of the application is Pets.
Pets. Okay. Right. So this is for supporting and maintaining the Pets system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what JP and a lot of other people worked on. So this is a big step forward for us. We're also on the cusp of getting UC Berkeley to pay similar fees for the autograders, which again is all great money supporting the charity. I'm sort of torn at the moment because these people have paid money, and I guess I feel like I really need to work. Even though there's a fair amount of time window, I feel like I need to show these guys progress on Open LibreBase. But there are certain things like the Google authentication is failing on the AV site, and then also there's a series of sort of fixes to improve flow for premium members. But anyhow, so that's all the items on my agenda. Any comments on any of those from anyone?
Do you have any idea why Google's not working?
I don't know. I've seen like Google's continuing to work on the Odin project. I've tried renewing the key. There is an error message. There's a ticket open. I'm not sure. It seems I was hopeful that renewing the security key would fix it, but we seem to be. It failed like 18 months ago, and we fixed it. It's frustrating. It's one of the ones that requires admin input. So, it's not the end of the world, but like some of the people coming to our site through the Google AdWords will try and use it, and it will break, and that will, it's sort of a bit of a bleed going on in the background.
I mean,
go on.
Is it? How would you classify it in terms of priority?
Well, it's one of those things that it's not a showstopper right now because existing premium members and people are probably fine. I think what it underlies is, I mean, I guess my big issue is I need to get more people working on the Website One project. We've got the local support project has become very active recently. We've got a lot of active developers who are doing really great stuff and moving that forward. And yeah, I need to get. I mean, I've got two new premium members who are potentially going to work on Website One. I just need to do. I need to do better at making sure that I, build a team around fixing all the little things on the main AV site, because there's just too many for one person like myself, who's then also going to be pulled away by other things like this. So.
Okay, well, as another new premium member, I suppose I could jump in if that would help.
Your help would be very much appreciated, Ben. If you, yeah,
all right.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, so what would I have to do? How would that?
Well, I think just start would be jump into the Website One channel, and if you're not there already, and then the bot will tell you, the sound bot will tell you how to get set up. I mean, the first step is just to get the system running locally, and the test passing. I mean, if that's tricky, then use C9. But then we've got a waffle board with a series of like individual beginner friendly tickets, not dissimilar to what you've been looking at in Wiki EDU dashboard. And and I'm the project manager, so just any time that you're confused about what to do, I mean, hopefully we can get you doing some little pull requests and then build up to bigger ones.
Okay.
Would be awesome. We're also talking about pulling React in as well, actually, so that might be something that you might be interested in helping.
That's
us.
Lower priority though compared to the stuff you were just talking about with the Google and all this.
Yeah. I think it would be great to get certain key things fixed. Although in the long, I mean, the big picture is that we have we have a big grant from Google. They have us $10,000 of AdWords spending a month. That's directing of the order of 10,000 people a month to our site, and there's kind of a funnel coming in, and so any part of that flow where we lose people, we're potentially losing out on people who would actually, both for them get value from the system, but from our organization, but also people who would become premium members and help do important fixes, even if they don't become premium members, and help this charity sustain and grow and keep on doing good work. So the kind of getting started flow that we have at the moment, I think, is a bit, it's a lot of room for improvement. And if it's flawed, a lot of that that's me having failed to make further progress on it. But I'm also sensing that we've got sort of like a site of, as of 5 years ago, where you click on things and move through. What struck me using the Wiki EDU dashboard project was how their whole sign up thing is a React flow, right? Which creates, I think, just a nicer flow, if you know what I mean.
It's much smoother.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've got other things that we could do to fix and smooth our flow that doesn't involve pulling in React, but given how excited people are about React, and we've all spent a lot of time learning it,
right.
We want to bash those low-hanging fruit, but then ultimately we want this sort of conveyor belt in some ways, that just for all the people who are coming in to say, look, here's how you can contribute, here's how you can get involved and keep the community thriving and flourishing.
I got a question. When I first got in touch with Sage and was talking about contributing to the Wiki EDU dashboard, he's got some documentation on there that talks about Waffle. And I asked him about that, and he said, "Oh, I'm trying to move away from Waffle." So in fact, he doesn't seem to be using Waffle anymore. Is that?
Yeah.
I don't know why though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think there's kind of an overhead associated with it in that. Yeah. I mean, we have different projects using different things. So, for example, the Met Plus project, the pets, uses Waffle, as does the Website One. We use the Pivotal Tracker for local support. I think different projects have different levels of things. I think one of the barriers for Waffle also can be that you kind of need to be added to the GitHub repo before you start being able to do certain things in it. So it's probably more beneficial to a tightly coordinated team where someone's in a position to give, those things. Whereas I think Sage is working with an even broader range of folks than some of our Agile Ventures projects, and he doesn't necessarily have time to pull all those people in. And so just working with the pure GitHub issues is easy. I mean, also particularly, they're not doing any voting or estimation on stories. That's one of the main things that Waffle gives you is the ability to assign a point value with the GitHub issue. Of course, if if GitHub adjusts it so that their projects, I can't understand why their projects thing doesn't allow you to assign, these like you can basically get the Kanban board that you get from Waffle, but you still don't get the ability to assign a certain number of points per story. So yeah, that's a big that sort of planning poker thing is a big part of what we do in many other Agile Ventures projects. So yeah, but I think that's not central for WikiEDU dashboard. So there you go.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so Federico, yeah, recruiting mentors for the new members meeting. That sounds like a great thing. I guess you could ask in the mentors channel about that.
Yeah, I could. I'm not very hopeful for the response, though.
No.
I think I'm going to have to ask individually.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, no, I don't know. We just it was actually a marketing item.
Yeah.
And but since there's some mentors here, I thought I might bring it up. So now that putting a couple people on the spot, JP and Sam, would you like to volunteer to run a new members meetings on Mondays or any day?
You know my time constraints.
I'm sorry, JP?
You know my time constraints. Like I'm only available between 12:45 till 1 p.m. 1:30 every day. And Wednesdays every other week I have the MedPlus meeting. So
yeah, okay.
Do you have anyone at that time?
Well, let's see, 8:30 my time, which is 2:30 UTC, or 9:30 your time, was when we were having them. We've had them actually 9 a.m. your time a couple times. Yeah, but no need to commit right now or anything. But yeah, it's just because otherwise it'll be a couple people stuck doing it, and that was my fear, that we'd have the same people sort of going over the same material. I don't know how Sam does it, like every day when they're in scrums when he gets new people. Just kind of having to talk about the same, welcoming people in, it can get a little old. So having, maybe 4 or 5 people do it once a month, once a week, I mean, it'd be once a week, but do it once a month for every mentor would be great. But I'll reach out to mentors on Slack, see what they think.
Yeah, I would say, well, one is that I think that the time that JP is available, that would be a perfectly great time to do it. Like, I don't think we're constrained by it needing to be at a particular time. We just need to do it at a time that mentors are available. I'm also happy to run them. I mean, the other thing that I think about is this, it's the mix of scrums versus new member meetings. In that, I kind of run the scrum and kind of try to encourage people to come into any scrum, and try to help them go through the onboarding process there as part of the scrum. Although, of course, I think it's intimidating for people if it's not labeled explicitly as a new member thing. Maybe we have too many of these daily scrums, the ones that the Kemp Beck and the Martin Fowler that are actually perhaps underused by the other projects who prefer to just have a project meeting exclusively about their own thing. When in the past when I've talked about that, people are like, oh no, we like the accessibility of it. It's great to have it there. So
yeah, so it's interesting because so first of all, it's sort of tailored to the new members channel, right, where we promote it. And even within the meeting, we get maybe five, 6 people, and they're not too familiar at that point with what a Scrum is.
Yeah.
So, so I think that's a barrier right there in itself.
Oh, absolutely. No, indeed, the wording for it. But anyway, so I mean, I've also received feedback about how I tend to speak very fast and can come across as a bit stressed in meetings, and in particular in scrums, and that might also be something that's off-putting for some people, which and I think like that's fun. I think that's fantastic feedback, and it's great to receive honest feedback from like that. I think yes, it's a bit catch-22, because if the scrums were overflowing with people, then perhaps I would be less stressed. But I guess what I would say is, yeah, I'm the other big thing to consider, I think, is, and I think it's really important, is that also for all of the things that we do, like the Scrum, I mean, I'm terrible at, I get into a routine of doing things a certain way, and then I just carry on doing it, whether it's generating value or not. And so I'm sure that the individuals who join the new member meetings give very positive feedback on the new member meetings, but I think we also, if we're going to have mentors regularly putting time into running new member meetings, then we need to also look at the effectiveness of the new member meetings. You know what I mean? Is that our people who are attending the new member meetings, we kind of need to log that and then see, do those people kind of continue to get involved? And if we're not doing that, then it kind of maybe feels like, oh, we're loading another thing onto the mentors that we don't know. It's sort of, there needs to be some sort of data evidence tracking in the background. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I mean, ideally, yeah. I think you can also get a sense of it without that, because it's sort of some overhead right there in itself, having to set that up. I mean, what do you have in mind, actually?
Well, I mean, I've been like your fantastic idea, which was about getting people to follow us on Twitter and Facebook and so on, and give them premium mob trials and so on. I'm updating the spreadsheet every day with who I'm reaching out to, and whether what they're interested in, and if they've become if they've then signed up for a mob subsequently and what have you. So and that's a little bit arduous, but I feel like, well, that's important data tracking for the effectiveness of my time spent on that. So I would have thought that it would be simply having a spreadsheet that would say, who attended the new member meeting on a given day, and then after 2 weeks or a month and 6 weeks, how involved are those people, which we can have a shared spreadsheet between the mentors, which we can all update, just like we do for the Twitter and Facebook stuff. Although, at the moment, I'm the only person, I think, editing that spreadsheet. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes, I think you're absolutely right. Except that might even become sort of a hassle if it's manual for like the mentor. Even though
it is. But well, sorry, go on.
Well, yeah. Just that they have to keep track of it manually and updating it at 2 weeks later. And that might be asking for too much work.
I think I would certainly not be asking. I would not say that the mentor who runs the meeting is then responsible for tracking all of those people. Okay. But if the mentor who runs the meeting can put those people in, then anybody else can, when they go back to the spreadsheet, like, did that person attend Scrum subsequently? I can do that. But yeah, all these things I'd love to. It's so frustrating that the Google API disappears, and that we lose the ability to say who's appeared in each event. But it would be, anyway. I would say we should, at the very least, if we're going to ask mentors to put in the effort to run, additional meetings, we should at the very least record who attends those meetings.
Yes. Yes, and I've done that, by the way, with just thanking everyone for showing up.
Fantastic. So I think we just get that information into a spreadsheet, and then there we go. We can start, I can eyeball that and start to talk about the relative effectiveness of it.
Yes. So I think to keep it as simple as possible, maybe just ask the mentor to do that, because otherwise, it doesn't seem like a lot, but having to go into a link and adding everything, a mentor might be like, well, how long is that going to take? I don't have time for this.
Yes. I mean, you say that, although you asked me to do it for the Twitter and things, and I'm spending a good 10 minutes every day doing it to keep that up to date, because you might want to review that in future. I mean, I think it's also, it's worth it, but yeah. So,
okay. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, point taken. I mean, so.
And I agree, it's worth it.
Yeah. I mean, what that makes me think of, and I've got to go very soon, is that we've also got an issue there with the sort of, like, I think it being unclear to mentors what it means to be a mentor. I mean, I'm a very sort of informal, let's kind of like do just, sort it out and like use a kind of gossiping protocol to work things out. I wonder if it would make sense to have a mentor covenant, which would be, I mean, that sounds a bit too formal, but just like, these are the kinds of things, like have it written down somewhere. I mean, rather than me just explaining to people what it means to be a mentor, that, these are the things, and whether we have any minimum level of expectation, which is, like to stay on the mentor roster, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the long run, or in the medium term, we should be working on that. I agree.
Yeah. Go on.
I was just gonna say, should we move on before time?
Yeah, I think we certainly should. Let's move on to Zhao's item, and so your main item, Zhao, is Met Plus.
Yeah. Yes. So I had something to say about the previous point, but at this point I don't remember. That's fine.
Sorry.
As usual, me talking too much.
But it was something like, around. Yeah, I think it's good to have the meetings with new people. It's fine, but we need to also get some data from that. And when we ask mentors to run this once a week or once every month, it's going to be a 2-in-1 job. It's going to be run this and make sure that the people that were present there are somewhere else. So it's not going to be just run the meeting and just go home and do nothing else. So if we leave this clear to people, to the mentors that are running these meetings, I think we'll not have any problem with that. Okay, so this being said, it's MetPlus. So last week we officially started our second trial, let's call it, second trial period for MetPlus. We decided with the client to be working for the first month with only the fee relative to support, so we can understand more or less how much would it cost us to host the website and the service and everything. And at this point, I think we have everything set up. We're just missing move our DNS to 2.2. That's not the correct domain. petsworkforce.com. And we're just missing pointing the petsworkforce.com domain to Azure, and we'll be all set.
Oh, that's very go on.
And that's it. So currently, if you access Pets Workforce, you're gonna go to our Heroku instance, and that's it. So like in the end of the month, I think we'll have more or less an idea how much the hosting will cost, and then we'll go from there with Chad. The only issue that you raised that you would like to pay in full for a full year. And that was the only thing. So that's something that we need to talk about, because there are two variable costs with this. One of them is Mailgun, and the other one is Pusher. So we need to see what's going on after that. So you all know, we also talked with him from the moment that this gets more like in a different stage of the product. Eventually, we talked about more than paid support, and eventually talk about paid work as well. And he's open to that, and he's already so the application is launching right now ish. And is thinking about monetizing the application and selling it to other agencies so they can start working with that as well. And that would be interesting, but that would require us to have a little bit more of a formal commitment with them and to see what goes from there. And in terms of updates, I think that's it. And just awesome job to everybody that worked on the project, and it was a lot of time. We should have gone live a lot of time before.
But we're there now.
But we're there now. That's what's important. So I think that's it. I think I had something else to say about this. Should have wrote down something. But we're good. So if you have any question about it, just shoot or let me know.
No, that's great, JP. Lovely to hear about possibly things
Okay, so I'm not
going
Sorry.
forward. And well, that's also very helpful for me because I have finally got into GoDaddy and I got the access to the DNS things of the right place. Gosh, that interface. But anyway, but yes.
Yeah,
So
the
basically,
interface is awful.
well, we should offer GoDaddy to well,
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah. So I basically need petsworkforce.com to point to the Azure thing specifically for the Rails app. The back end, Cruncher doesn't need to be changed. They'll still talk over the Agile Ventures URL, and yeah. So I will get that. I think I have all the pieces of information to do that. I can see it here pointing to Heroku. I've done this in my Gandhi system, so I just need to do the same thing in the GoDaddy. So yeah, we should get that sorted out soon. I don't see any blockers there. Yeah, I've got to run. Any I guess just because I leave, of course, it shouldn't stop things. Maybe I can just sort of leave you guys running, and you can sort of catch up. And otherwise, this is the danger for me, is that I end up leaving my wife alone with the kids. When she needs me. So particularly it's Ben's first time. Ben may have questions about those things. So I'm gonna leave the thing running. Feel free to keep on chatting, and I'll catch you.
There's probably no reason to leave my name on there since.
Oh yeah, well I was sort of there, yeah, on the notes of like, did Ben have any questions? Thanks so much for your offer of help on the website one, by the way, Ben. Really very much.
Yeah, I'm checking out some waffle tasks. I'm going to be able to probably try to get going on that. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks. Good show. Yep. All right. Well, I'm gonna nip off, but feel free to chat amongst yourselves, and I'll see you real soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks, man.
So I have a question. I have a couple questions. How does what is the organization? What's the sort of structure of the organization?
You're talking about MetPlus.
Agile Ventures.
Oh, it's a charity, UK charity.
Oh, okay. I see.
Is that what you meant, or?
I guess so. I mean, so there's people running it, and there's certain people that are mentors. And how did that all come to be?
Well, I think the genesis had to do more with well, it sort of sprung out of. Have you heard of the edX course, the edX ESAS course? I think.
Yeah, I went through that. That's kind of how I ended up here.
Yeah, so I think Sam and like Michael and a few other people took one of the very first sessions of it, and they started to develop local support. Then, and Thomas, by the way, Thomas Oakman, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, and they formed Agile Ventures. I think it was originally going to be Agile Projects, but that was taken, and they created Agile Ventures. I'm not sure at what point JP came in. He's been here quite a while, I think. And
he's been here forever.
Forever. And so the General Structure, it just became an official UK charity, I think, a year ago.
Oh, all right.
And yeah, and so before that, it's structured, I guess, as a limited company in the UK. But yeah, it's a nonprofit. Well, over there they call it a charity, and
oh, I see that. All right, yeah, that makes sense then. Like a charity, okay, like a nonprofit.
Yeah, and because it became like a registered charity, kind of like a 501c3 over here,
right?
It gave us access to Google AdWords and a bunch of other different perks like Azure.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I heard about that today.
Yeah. So and then there's there's mentors, which don't have that much obligation, but kind of help out the new people, I guess. They tend to be like project managers of a project. Yeah, I don't know anything else that's not clear.
No, I think that makes sense. How many mentors are there at this point?
There are like, I don't know, 12. Let's see here. Let me check here real quick.
18.
18.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So basically, the job on mentors are they don't have really a role. What they do and what they usually do is that they are active, and there are people that are very active, and they are usually in one or two projects, and usually it's people that have been around for a long time. Despite the fact that some mentors currently are currently not active, I think. I don't know. But basically there's really no role as mentor. It's just there are people that we call mentors.
I see. All right.
So
it's a designation.
It's more a designation than really a role that implies any kind of work from you. But if you have any question, in theory, if you ask any mentor, there are people that are here for longer, so they might eventually be able to answer you any question that you might have. Maybe not in a specific project, but in general, in Agile Ventures generally. Like, for example, I'm one of the mentors. And if you talk to me about, I don't know, projects I have no clue about, but I'm currently running the Met Plus. I'm not running. What am I doing? I'm doing like liaison between the Agile Ventures and the Met Plus client, and I developed a little bit for other projects like the Open Peer Power and some other projects. I don't remember. It was too long ago, but yeah. So you'll see very different types of mentors, but usually the thing that they have in common is that they were active at a certain point in time. They were very active.
I see. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, JP, do you have anything else?
Yeah. I'll share my screen. I'll share my screen. Yeah, sharing screens. Yay. So now we have access. So not sure who, but at least some of us have access to the G Suite. And I started compiling things there. When I say started, I created a file.
Okay.
And basically, our first budget for Met Plus that I did, it's there. And in theory, they will be shared. I'm not sure how, but I created like a team drive for our thing, and I think we should start doing that. Something around that, where we can have more centralized information somewhere else. Because one of the things that I realized when I was pushing MATPLUS forward was that it's hard. There isn't like really a lot of information or documentation or any process to decide things. And it looks like everything till this point that was any project that was related to any kind of income was done by Sam. So Sam had like full knowledge of everything on him. So that was a little bit hard. But yeah, I think we should somehow, like what I felt was that we need, if we are going to start charging money to people to do things, we need to step up our company game, and we need to be a little bit more like professionalized on this. But
no, yeah, that's a good initiative right there to get us going on that. We do have, you know, some documents, like in terms of like for sponsorship, we have like a PDF that we send out to people, and that's a professional. And so the more that we can accumulate and to sort of have templates, I think that's a good idea to help out, especially, you know, well, you did it with your project, but like for other projects, so that they could get going faster, and that's less of a barrier. So I think that's a great idea. Yeah. Anything else?
I don't have anything else. Nope.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ben, for joining us. And yeah, I guess we can. Are we still recording? We're still recording. Yes, we are. Okay.
Yes, it's live there. So
Yeah. So I guess we're gonna meet again in a week at the same time, and maybe by Friday we should have agenda items. Maybe I don't know. Yeah. Oh, and if you're talking to JP, you're muted.
Hello.
Yeah.
Did we stop trying to have the meeting on the weekends?
Yeah, we talked about that like Sam and well, you and like I think a couple other people. It wasn't working out. Yeah. So I think unless anything changes, we should just have it be at this time. And you know, there wasn't much notice for this meeting, so maybe not as many people showed up, but just give a little more notice, I think.
Okay.
And we'll be good. So with that, I think if we just all leave, it'll stop recording like 5 minutes later after we all leave. So I propose we just all leave.
seconded.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So with that,
nice to meet you, Ben.
Yeah, likewise. See you guys later.
yeah, thank you, Ben.
Bye.
Meeting adjourned.
Bye. See you.
Bye.